Varilux lenses are your ally for seeing sharply and seamlessly at all distances, allowing you to explore every inch of the world. Don't feel constrained anymore. Wear Varilux lenses to go further than ever. Talk to your Boots Opticians for more information.
Hello and welcome to See What's Possible, the podcast brought to you by Boots Opticians that meets with some of the nation's most inspiring sports stars, media personalities and performers. We discover the secrets behind their phenomenal achievements and the mindset they instill to battle against the odds. I'm your host, Myleene Klass, and today we're going to be talking about rising from challenging backgrounds to pursue a path to success. My guest is world-renowned magician Steven Frayne, formerly known as Dynamo. Now, Steven began learning magic tricks as a child that were taught to him by his great-grandfather to distract and protect himself from the severe bullying that was happening at school. Steven has battled arthritis and Crohn's disease, and after reverting back to his original name, Steven has spoken of constant reinvention being the key to longevity. Steven, it's so lovely to see you, although I feel like this is second, third time I've seen you this week.
Yes, yeah, we've
we just keep bumping into each other.
Yeah.
So we bump into each other either like on the work circuit, but you're also kind of my neighbour.
We're neighbours, and also like I see you on the red carpet.
There you go, work.
And then at the event the other night, we're at the Sky Arts Awards.
And then I bumped into your missus because I used to sing with your missus.
I know, it's mad. Like back when we were younger, so she used to sing in a choir. Yeah, it's amazing. And but it's such a small world, isn't it, when you think about it?
It really is. I see you around. I just honestly, because where we live, you just spot a lot of people, but it's so funny because I always give you a little wave when I see you. So it's lovely. But it's lovely to see you here.
Thank you.
Look, there's a few things we just need to get to the bottom of. And the first thing I have to ask, which so many people come to me with, is what happened to Dynamo? Did you just decide I'm not using that name anymore, reclaiming my own name? Or is there a bigger story to it? Did you just feel like being Steven for a while? Where did Dynamo go?
There was a lot of things going on in my life, a lot of loss and sadness. And in the middle of dealing with things, I had quite a big tragedy all happen all at once, where my two dogs died in the same weekend as my nana. And people who know about my story know that, my nana did a big part in raising me. My mum had me really young, so like my nana was always like there to help and support. And so when she passed, like that was like, one of the biggest loss I could ever feel to go through. And at the time, I was really struggling because I'd been in and out of hospital because of my Crohn's disease. I was unable to even hold a pack of cards or shuffle them because my hands were so painful from the arthritis that I'd developed from my Crohn's. And I felt like everything in my life was slipping away from me. Then I lose my dogs, then I lose my nan. And it was this kind of oxymoron. I'm this guy who's seen by the public as Dynamo, who can do all these incredible things, walk across the River Thames, make cards float, do all these amazing spectacles that people have come to know me for. But on the other side, I'm in hospital, couldn't even do the most simple of tasks. I couldn't make a cup of tea for myself. I was so debilitated with the illness. And I was getting myself back on my feet, and then I had the loss of my dogs and my nan in that one weekend. And you know what? It made me realise, all right, I need to step back and just focus on getting Steven right, because I was suicidal for parts of that period in my life. And I needed to kind of just, fix myself in order to find the magic again, I guess. And then as I started to get to know Steven again, I figured that was the person that the world needed to get to see. The real me, behind all the smoke and mirrors. And that way, I felt like a lot of pressure trying to live up to the name of Dynamo. And because of my illness, I wasn't able to do things in the same way. So I figured, all right, if I come back as myself, then there's no blueprint. I don't have to be like anything. I can just be myself, and hopefully people will like that. And hopefully that's as amazing as my past.
I mean, you covered so much there. I'm so sorry about your gran. 'Cause when you hear your story, and where you came from and what you created for yourself. It sounds like she was the backbone
it
of
was
everything, and your grandfather.
My nana and grandpa, they're actually my great grandparents.
Yeah.
Crazy, because like I never looked at them as that. I mean, I looked at them as great, but because my mum's mum, my actual nana, she moved to America when I was really, really, really young. So my nana and grandpa, Nellie and Ken, were always seen as, no, that's nana and gramps, you know what I mean? But yeah, my grandpa got me into magic in the first place, but it was my nana who really nurtured it. Like she was the one she'd take me to find like the magic clubs, like the Bradford Magic Circle. She took me to find that. She took me to Blackpool to this big magic conference. You know, we'd go all over the country.
Jeez,
just trying to fight. Like, you know, so like, this is how much my nana cared about making sure that I was able to pursue the thing I loved, right? We'd go to this place called Merlin's, right? It's in Wakefield. It's like a magic shop and fancy dress shop and joke shop. You know, they sold all sorts of like cool things in there, right? And one of the things they sold were VHS tapes on magic and on card skills. And there was this set that I wanted, and it was by this magician called Darryl. He was known as, you know, the magician's magician. He was like one of the best card guys ever. And he made this set called the Encyclopedia of Card Sleights. And it was quite expensive, you know, we were looking at, it was like, you know, £20 per VHS tape. For anyone listening who doesn't know what VHS tape is, it's like a DVD. If you know what a DVD is, it's almost like a streaming service, but you actually put into a device and it plays on your TV. Anyway, so there was 8 in this series of these VHS tapes, and I'd saved up, you know, done loads of like chores and stuff like that, and saved up money, you know, cleaning cars on the estate and stuff like that, so that I could buy, you know, one of the tapes. And then at Christmas, at the end of the year, my nana got me the whole set.
No,
and
like
it literally
160 quid.
Yeah, it became like my Bible though, right? And I literally would just study it obsessively.
How did she do it? How did she get the money together to do that?
I think she saved up a pension, to be honest. No. You know, I think, yeah. I mean, I think she took my grandpa's without him knowing as well. But yeah, but it wasn't even just that, right? That was just the start. Like, I got obsessed and, you know, started to master these card sleights and these skills. And then I found out that Darryl is from America, but found out he was coming to the UK to do a lecture tour. And one of the places he was doing it was not too far from home. He was doing one in Leeds, right? And I was like, I really want to go. My nana looked into it, and it was at an over 18s venue. So I was too young to be able to attend. I was gutted. So then that passed. And then that weekend, I was having Sunday roast at the White Lion pub with Nana Gramps, the usual, right? And I got a tap on the shoulder, and I turned around, and it was Darryl. And my nana had secretly arranged for Darryl to come have Sunday dinner with us. And that was like the best thing ever. Like, it gave me like a masterclass in card magic, and some of the stuff he showed me that day, I still do to this day. And yeah, like that kind of, for me, just shows the level of care and attention that my nana put into trying to help me follow my dreams.
Nellie and Ken.
Yeah. So now I understand like why it was such a tragedy when she passed.
How on earth did your nana manage to arrange a Sunday dinner?
My nan was the most amazing person ever. She had her own type of magic. If I take, you know, if people ask me where you got your magic from, it's my nan and Gramps. Like they were the ones who made me who I am.
Hearing you talk about your nana in that way, I can't even imagine the devastation you felt that weekend that you talk about. Yeah,
I mean, it was one thing after another, because like my dogs were like, they were like my children. You know, we had 3 dogs.
Yeah,
I've still got one little
family.
One. Yeah, I've still got one dog, Lily, who's amazing. Like she's found her voice in the house now that it was only her, right? But I had a Newfoundland called Bunty, who was 80-kilogram dog, massive, right? Massive. And she had an accident when she was little, and then Super Vet had to make her special legs.
Right.
So we always knew that she might not have a full life, but we did everything to give her the best life ever. So when she passed, that was a shock. But then Bailey had a bulldog, a 50-kilogram bulldog. So we got all the ends of the spectrum here. We got the the 80 kilogram Newfoundland, the 50 kilogram Bulldog, and then my little 10 kilogram
tiddler.
half French Bulldog, half Pug. So this is a Fug or Frug. And yeah, like the Bulldog just suddenly just dropped dead.
No.
And then so I knew that I was going to have to go to Bradford to see my nana because she was in hospital, right? And I knew I was going to drive up that day, the day that the Bulldog died. And it was quite early, and I could hear my wife crying, and she was screaming, and she goes, she was just shouting. She goes, Stephen. She goes, dead. And I'm thinking that my nana's gone already because I knew that she was in hospital, so I knew I might have to go up and, see her before and say my goodbyes, right? So I came downstairs thinking that someone's on the phone to my wife telling me that my nana's dead already. But then she goes, no, not your nan, Bailey. I was like, whoa, this is crazy, because we had to get the vets and stuff to come to the house. We had to do all that, and then I had to drive to Bradford and say goodbye to my nan. And I remember I drove up there, and I went into the room, and I'll be honest, she didn't recognise me. She asked me if I was one of the staff members and if I was going to have what time my shift finished. But I got to speak to her at least, and then I went back to my brother's house and fell asleep, and then got a phone call at 6 a.m. from the hospital saying that she'd gone. So it felt like she'd almost waited to say goodbye. She didn't know who I was, but she, but I got to see her while she was at least, like talking and stuff.
So these awful, series of events happens in your life, and then you start questioning who you are.
Yeah, I mean, I was already questioning myself before anyway, because, like I say, I was incredibly unwell, and I wasn't able to do magic. And me without magic is like, what's the point in my existence? It's the thing I live for. It's the only thing I'm really, really good at.
Were there any signs of recovery? Did you have any hope that this would pass, or could you just not even?
I was trialing medications. So I don't know if anyone knows, but when you trial a medication, right, you have to trial it for 3 months.
Yeah.
Because even if you know it's not working in the first 2 weeks, you can't try a new one till you've tried it for 3 months. And I was in so much pain, so I was trying this medication, it wasn't working, but I was having to deal with the pain.
You had to see it through.
So I had to see it through for 3 months, and then I tried another one, that didn't work. Then I had to do 9 months of trials, and then I finally found one that worked. But the amount of medication in my system, I was on like 28 tablets a day at one point, plus I was having infusions in the hospital. So like, I think there was definitely a little bit of psychosis going on because of all the different medicine going through my body. And I think that, combined with the depression, combined with me not being able to feel like I'm really me, because I'm not even able to go out and work and perform, plus financial difficulties just because I wasn't working. It was a compound of many different things. And I think if my nana hadn't have died, I don't know if I'd still be here, because I think it was her death that snapped me out of my depression in some respects, which is ironic, because obviously I was incredibly sad that she'd gone. But I think up until that point, I was trying to cling on to things, and that just, it was making me worse. Whereas when I lost my nana, I realised that was what real loss feels like, and that, there's a lot more important things to focus on. And it kind of snapped me out of my funk in some respect. And then from there, I started to rebuild, and things just changed for the better.
All those things that you're describing, what kind of pressure can that put on your relationship as well? Because your wife, who you've been married to for 14 years, every relationship goes through its trials and tribulations, but that's a real test that you've experienced there.
Yeah. I mean, there was a point where my wife found me. I attempted suicide, and she found me, like, she found me unconscious in the dog bed, below a mirror that I tried to put my head through, and it was actually at the house where we live still.
You don't want to get rid of it?
No, because I feel like when I see it, it reminds me never to go back to that place again. But at the times, I was looking in the mirror, and I didn't I hated the person that was looking back at me because it wasn't me. And the medication had changed my appearance loads as well. Like, you know, I was on like prednisolone, which is a steroid that basically gives you a thing called moon face, where you balloon up, and it's you know, I've never been one that cares too much about what I look like, because, you know, like I'm born like this. This is who I am. Do you know what I mean? I'm not, but I definitely didn't feel like or look like myself at times. So
when your wife found you, what happened from there on in? Was there a moment where she said, "We can't do this anymore"?
She's straight. She was on the phone to my doctors and to the Priory straight away, and then the Priory helped look after me for a bit. And
it's so brave of you to speak this way, because, as you know, suicide rates, they're on the rise, especially in men. Not having anywhere to go to, not knowing who to speak to, and the shame that's attached to it. It's so brave of you to speak this way, because you could actually just hide all this away.
Yeah, I did for a while. You know, like one of my main concerns was when she was speaking to the Priory, was like I was a bit worried about people finding out. You know, I was like, you know, then she assured me, and they assured us that it would be very discreet and no one would even know that I'd had to see them.
So why are you talking? Why are you sharing it?
I think I wouldn't say I'm fully past all of it, but I feel that, as you say, I'm not ashamed of it. Like, if anything, it's part of growth, and we're all a little bit broken, I think, at times, and, you know, we shouldn't feel afraid to kind of grab the super glue and kind of fix us back together again. And there might be some cracks that are sure, but those cracks are what help build the character.
Pain, turning your pain into power.
Yeah, just trying to, if me sharing this can help somebody who's feeling these pains and this discomfort in themselves, and they feel too embarrassed or ashamed to talk about it, but maybe this makes them think, oh, you know what, he's speaking about it, so maybe I can speak to my friend or my family or someone about it, and it might change them, it might keep them alive. So, you know, I think if I can take what I've been through and help it breathe life into somebody else, then that's the greatest magic I could ever do.
So true. It's so true. You are extremely dexterous, and arthritis hits and Crohn's hits. What does that feel like for somebody like yourself?
I mean, physically, I still get these pains today, but when, in my hands, for example, when I would put cards back in my hands initially, right, I'd get electric shooting pains all the way up my arm.
Is that how you first knew that there was something to worry about?
Yeah, because
it's associated with, you know, older, elderly people, but it is actually it's quite common in our age group.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's reactive arthritis I've got. So when my Crohn's flares up really bad, which it was at the time, then it causes the arthritis to happen I've got it in 32 different areas of my body. So like from my ankles, my toes, my fingers, my shoulders, my neck. I've got ankylosing spondylitis in my spine. So my
What's that?
So it's where your back fuses, the joints fuse, right? So, and every morning, right, it's like Groundhog Day for people, for myself and for anyone who deals with this. Basically, I struggle to fall asleep at night because it's hard to get comfortable to fall asleep. So I have to stay awake all night and exhaust myself. So eventually I'll fall asleep naturally, right?
About what time?
Probably about 6 o'clock in the morning.
You go to bed at 6. That's when I get up with the kids.
Yeah. I mean, luckily I do all my best work at night time. So I'll go to my magic studio and work on ideas.
You've got a magic studio?
Yeah.
That's what I imagine you have. Where is it? Like at the bottom of the garden?
No, it's a top secret location.
Oh, well, I would hope so.
Yeah.
Okay. And what happens in the magic studio?
Magic. But yeah, so I stay up all night until my body feels like it has to fall asleep, right? Because when I wake up, I'm always scared. I'm scared to go to sleep because I know when I wake up, it's going to be painful. Because every morning when I wake up, my body, my back in particular, has fused together sometimes I can't move. Sometimes I'm stiff. I can't get up. So I have to take my medications, and I've got a bath at the bottom of the bed. I have to roll into the bath for heat treatments and basically sit in the bath for like 2 hours each day in order to loosen my joints to start them working again. And then gradually throughout the day, my joints become more supple. So by 10 o'clock at night, I'm alive.
Fully operational.
I'm alive. But then I know
Gosh.
I get scared because I know that I need to go to sleep at some point.
Yeah.
But I can't. If I try to lie down, I won't be able to get to sleep. I won't be able to get comfortable. So I have to just stay awake and exhaust myself. And then I know that when I wake up again, it's going to be painful again.
That is a real cycle of just pain and frustration.
But I'm so lucky in many respects because at least I do get to wake up every day, and eventually once my body's working, I'm able to do what I love. Whereas, when I was dealing with this and I couldn't get up and go do magic, or couldn't come and hang out with people like yourself and share stories, then I was just literally just bedbound or in pain, doing physio, trying to...
Trapped by your own body.
Yeah. And then trapped by your body, but eventually, I think the trappings went from my body to my mind, and that was the recipe for disaster. So now I have to, try and always just keep myself busy. For me, I need my work, because if I'm not working on something, if I'm not working on a new magic idea, working on a new show, working on the book, I love this. I live for it. Like, it reminds me of my nan and grandpa every time I'm thinking about magic. It reminds me of my childhood. And, as a magician, I need my imagination to be almost like a childlike imagination, so that I can always try and come up with new concepts and new ideas. But if I'm not doing that, then I feel like I'm dying inside. And so for me, I need to, I'm so lucky I'm able to share magic again, able to do this. And, if anyone's out there who's going through similar things, like, please take it from me that it's possible to get through this, and it's possible to share your own magic, whatever that may be, in your own special way. So just keep fighting it.
Do not stop. You talk about your childhood, the magic of your childhood. I mean, in the conventional sense, you didn't have an easy childhood. You came from quite a challenging background where you grew up, but you never felt that. Yeah.
I mean, I grew up on a council estate in Bradford, but you go throughout our country, there's a lot of council estates, and there's a lot of kids grow up in very similar situations. Dad went to jail when I was really young. My mum had me when she was really young.
How old was she?
She had me when she was 17.
Yeah.
Fell pregnant when she was 16. And
so you've got a dad in jail. You've got a teen mum.
Yes. And I'm mixed race, and the school I went to was a very white school. There's a lot of racist abuse.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't get as much as some of the other kids, but I got beaten up like every day. Without getting beaten up though, I would never found magic, because it was after school.
That's quite the spin to put on it. But
but it's true, because after school one day, right, it's a usual thing. I come out of school, the group of guys waiting for me, and then they put me inside the bin, take me to the top of the hill, and we had there was these massive hills in the school playing fields, and they take me to the top of the hill, and then kick me down the hill in the bin after beating me up. My gramps, who was coming to meet me after school, every Friday he'd come and meet me, and they'd look after me at the weekends, right? And he saw this happening to me. And I didn't realise he'd seen it, because he'd got there a bit earlier he waited for me, at the gates. And then he said to me, "Oh, listen, lad, I saw what happened to you, and I'm going to teach you some techniques to stop it from happening again." So I'm there thinking, my grandpa's going to be like, I thought it was going to be Mr. Miyagi. Thought I was going to learn karate. But no, he showed me some magic techniques.
Wow.
Some techniques. There's this famous lady from back in the day called Lulu Hurst, right? She was a vaudeville entertainer, like Peter and Barnum days,
of course,
like the Greatest Showman era, right? And she was a very small lady, but she had these skills where she could stop anybody from being able to pick her up or push her around. Okay. And she was known as, her act was known as the Georgia Magnet, because it was like she could magnetize herself to the ground. And I don't know how my grandpa knew this stuff, but he was into magic and stuff like that, so he's into studying this type of stuff. And he showed me some of her techniques, And I be honest, I didn't think they were going to work, right? But I tried it at school the next day.
So brave of you to try it out.
I had no choice. It was that or get put in the bin. So I tried it, and this one time it worked, and they couldn't move me, and they were like dumbfounded, and they were like they didn't want to be seen that they'd had one over on them by me. So they spread rumours around the playground I was a crazy demon child.
Great, that was going to work right into your
worked. It worked for
favour.
me. Although the only thing is, it did alienate me because I was already seen as the weird kid. I was already seen as the outsider.
Why? Why?
Just I don't know. I was a small, skinny kid. I wasn't like a lot of the kids that went to that school. And I was an easy target for the bullies. Right. I was into things that people weren't into. I liked reading and stuff. I liked doing stuff that wasn't necessarily cool. But I just, I think I was so used to like living in my own head that I'd just make up my own reality on things. We couldn't afford to travel places, so I would read books about places, and I'd go there in my mind, and that was like that was like the way I entertained myself. And the irony is now I get to travel to all these places that I've read about and share magic there.
I've seen you. I mean, people hire you from all over the world to come and entertain them. You entertain the stars. Your teen self or your young self must be high-fiving you right now.
Yeah. It's but I think, as I said, a lot of these experiences that I've got to do, or the incredible things, they wouldn't have happened without the negative things in the first place. If those things didn't happen, then my grandpa would never have shown me any magic, and I would never have then ended up going to college. So I got through school, right?
You made it.
Made it, right? But then I went to a college that was 3 hours away from the school I went to, purposefully, so I could have a fresh start. Because no one who picked me was going to go there. Yeah. I went to Batley School of Art and Design. Right. I had to take like 3 buses to get there. But it was worth it just because it was a fresh start for me. And on the first day, everyone's introducing themselves and, saying what they're into outside of college. And I was like, oh, I'm Steven. What do I do? I like reading. I do magic. And everyone's like, you do magic? I'm like, yeah, can you show us? And this was the first time I performed for entertainment purposes.
Not for survival.
Because at the beginning, I was doing magic to push people away from me, whereas this was the first time I realised it had the power to bring people together. And I ended up doing loads of magic gigs to pay my way through college, and ended up dropping out of college and becoming a full-time magician. Never had a proper job since. So, I dropped out of college, and for my 18th birthday, my nana, who lives in America, so because not my great grandma who passed, but my nana who moved to America, for my 18th birthday, she got me a flight out to the States, and she organised it because she's got a green card out there. She organised it so I had a visa so I could stay there for like 8 months, and she's got 19 award-winning golden retriever dogs, and she'd go to all the dog shows, right? So I travelled across America for 8 months in an RV with 19 dogs, right?
It must have been a squash and a squeeze.
It was brilliant, right?
Can you imagine the madness?
We went everywhere. We went to New Orleans. We went to Vegas. We went all over the place.
What did you travel in?
Right? This massive RV, right? It was amazing.
You 19 golden retrievers in your nan.
And in the daytime, I would help my nan grooming the dogs, right? And then in the evenings, we'd find out like the local magic clubs in like New Orleans, New Orleans is famous for street performers. Yeah. So that's where I first saw street magic, like in the flesh, like by street performers. And like the proper like OG levels, because like I used to come to Covent Garden and see a few things, but it wasn't like the level of what you'd see out there. But like I got to go to Vegas and meet people like David Copperfield and Siegfried and Roy and like the legends, Penn and Teller, like legends of magic. And it was like, this was where I was seeing that it is possible to actually make a career from magic. Like, this is how far you can take it. Like you got to think about it. Like, I had so many people telling me, you need to focus on your college. You need to go back to college and get an education,
right? Yeah.
Which is very important. Don't get me wrong, but you're not going to be able to make a living doing magic. But then I was able to say, well, actually, Penn and Teller make a living doing magic. You know, Siegfried and Roy make a living doing magic. David Copperfield is a billionaire. There's not, at the time, there wasn't many millionaires in the world. There's probably not that many now. And he's a billionaire from magic.
Yeah.
You know, this was a time when, like, at the time, David Beckham, Ronaldo, like the people that we, you know, the biggest artists in the world, Jay-Z, these people weren't billionaires, but here was a magician who was a living testament that you could make a living in magic, and not just a living, like he owns islands and stuff.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So like I came back from America from that trip, covered in dog hair, but no, I came back from that trip with almost like a master plan,
Right.
like of
I've
like,
seen the blueprint. I've seen how this can happen.
So and then I started to put it into action. But
How did you start? Is that when you built
no,
the magic shed?
I was just trying to, like, I was going to local bars and stuff in Bradford, and I'd say, listen, give me an area I can perform magic in to your customers. You don't have to pay me, just get me a taxi home at the end of the night, right? And I will perform for tips, right? And I had this little system set up. So we had my boy Marcus and Alex and Johnny, right?
These are some of your mates.
Yeah, some of my mates, right? But they would act like they didn't know me, right? And then I'd be performing magic, right? And then at the end, I'd put a pint glass down with a few pound coins in it.
Clever.
And then people would start putting money in. And then Marcus and these guys would come and put a fiver in, or 20 quid or whatever. And then inclining people to put more money in.
Yeah, of course.
And then at the end, we'd probably, you know, some nights we'd make, you know, like 100, 150 quid a night. Then we'd go back to my nan's and grandpa's flat, right? And it would be like 4 a.m, right? It would be sat around my nan's dinner table, right? And I'd be like, all right, there's £1 for you, £1 for you, £1 for you, £2 for me, £1 for you, £1 for you, £1 for you, £2 for me, right? And then my nan she'd get up and come make us, you know, bacon sandwiches and stuff like that. And it was, I mean, they were the days, man, you know.
Sounds like
and
it.
we were just having the most amazing time ever. And then, but at that time, like I say, I essentially was busking, you know. It wasn't a business then.
But you're also calibrating what works with the audience, figuring out what your voice is out there, how you're going to put your act together. So
and people started
you're like your own apprentice.
Yeah, but people started to book me to basically come and you know, perform at actual events where I got paid just to be there.
What's been the biggest pinch me moment where you've said, I never thought I would perform for them, or what am I doing here, or what's been your moment where you're like, what?
It came kind of after that started, but there was a bit in between that could have derailed it all. So I'm doing these gigs, you know, I'm performing, I'm big in Yorkshire, right? Performing it, you know, I performed, by this point I performed in Sheffield, performed in Leeds, you know what I mean?
Conquered the North.
I was Manchester, you know what I mean? King of the North, right? And then I was like, right, I need to try and make a business plan. And I had planned to come to London, right, to try and, you know, perform to some important people. And I ended up in hospital because of an abscess in my bowel, right, from my Crohn's. And I was in hospital for 6 months. I've got a big scar, like from
my goodness, that is a big scar.
Where they had to cut out a whole section, and they cut through the nervous system. So I had to learn to walk again, and everything. So I was literally in hospital for 6 months, and I missed out on all those opportunities. So when I was in hospital, I continued to work on this master plan, and I've continued to practice magic. So I was doing magic to the nurses and stuff like that all the time, right? And when I got out of hospital, I thought, right, now I need to try and raise some funds because I know what I want to do, right? I need to start documenting this because if I'd have died in hospital, nobody would have ever seen my magic. So I need to get it on film, right? And I went to a few banks and no one would give me any money. I went to family members. No, we didn't really have any money to borrow. So, and I was going to Mappa Youth Club in West Bowling, and a guy called Emil who works there, he basically took me to London because he was taking down the rap crew, Deuce crew, from the estate to enter this competition called Urban Voices. It was in I think Oceana in Hackney, right? Or Oceans, I'm not sure if it's one of those, right? And we went down there, right? And I'm doing magic and stuff down there to meeting people, and then he kept introducing me to loads of people. I didn't think anything was going to come of it, right? But then one time, you know, I'm back up in Bradford, and one day I walk into the youth club and he goes, "Oh, I want you to meet this guy called Tony." I go, "Cool." I met this guy called Tony. Turns out Tony knew this guy called, back then, called Prince Charles. You might have heard of him. Yeah.
Oh, the Prince Charles.
Yeah, the Prince Charles. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And then turns out he knew Prince Charles and he worked for the Prince's Trust. And he set it up so I could have an audition to get a business startup loan from the Prince's Trust.
Kidding.
And I remember walking in there. It was like a cross between Dragon's Den or Shark Tank for any American listeners, and like, you know, and Got Talent, right? And I walked in there, performed my little heart out, and ended up, you know, showing them, you know, loads of magic and kind of gave them the pitch, right? And I walked out the room and Tony came running out after. He goes, "Oh, they're going to give you the money, but they don't understand what the business is, but they loved your enthusiasm. So we're going to make it happen," right? And, you know, Prince Charles loves magic, right? And then, so then I get, you know, they gave me £2,000 and I ended up buying a camcorder and a laptop and I bought a printer and paper. I was printing out my own business cards. I had like this like pamphlet that I made, like folded in triangles, sort of thing you find in a restaurant, you know, like
on the table,
yeah,
like the
right. But it was like, you
advertising.
know, it's saying, you know, what I could do for your event and how I could amaze you and stuff like that. So I was trying to be professional with it all, and because of the loan, the Prince's Trust, I ended up then getting to go to Clarence House, and to Buckingham Palace, stuff like that. And you know, from a council estate to a royal estate, I mean, that for me, that's the ultimate pinch me moment. And it's gone full circle because this year, my hometown Bradford is capital of culture.
Right.
And at the beginning of the year, I launched a capital of culture event, headlining a show in the streets where I used to try and get people to watch my street magic when I was busking. We had 20,000 people turn out to watch me perform magic and celebrate Bradford in all its glory.
Your nana must be looking down at this and
crazy.
cheering you on. I mean, I'm grinning from ear to ear.
Right.
It's
Well,
just incredible.
Then the icing on the cake is King Charles came to see me in Bradford. And I mean, it's on my Instagram, my new Instagram.
No, I've seen.
Dynamo is dead. You can see me hanging out with old King Charles. And yeah, it was. I think, you know, that's probably still the pinch me moment to this day, because
from council estate to royal estate. That's something.
But it's just having someone believe in you can change the world for you, you know. And when that person turns out to be the king of our country, like, you know, that changed my whole universe. You know what I mean? And because of his support and everything that the Prince's Trust, or rather the King's Trust,
the King's
it's
Trust
called
now, yeah.
King's Trust now, yeah. Everything that they do, they are literally creating magic and helping people achieve their dreams.
Something you really believe in. I work with the King's Trust. I've seen it from the other side of what you're doing, but for them to have no clue about what it is you're going to do with this money, but just seeing that spark and still investing in you and trusting you, that's remarkable.
Yeah, no, I mean,
and you turned the magic round. You turned it into something.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. You know, I live for this stuff.
Dynamo, we're saying, is dead. Is it not just the move on?
I think it's the end of an era.
It's the end of an era.
But it's the beginning of a new era. You know, when I looked at this, when I was going through it, my worst, I felt like everything in me was dying and felt like I was losing a life. Whereas now I look at things of how lucky am I get to live 2 lives in one lifetime.
Well, Stephen, you've reclaimed your name, and honestly, you are your own little piece of magic. You have showed that in the face of adversity that you just never quit. You've never quit on yourself. You are one remarkable person.
Oh, thank you very much.
You really are. What an inspiration.
So I'll just do a quick thing. So I'm going to move this a little bit, but I'll project so that you can still hear me. And so, because, you know, you're talking obviously about like rags to riches story, and like, you know, it's in this world, it's very hard to make money. I mean, if only it was this easy, but this is a cool piece of magic that I think is a perfect way to end this. I've got some newspaper cuttings.
Yeah.
You can see it's just paper, right?
Yep.
But if I just move this that way a little bit so this camera can see this. If I take the paper and then
What?
because that's the real.
Oh, come on. If only it was that easy. No. Oh, I should have been watching. And I've got my glasses on. And I still don't know how you did that. I should have been watching you right there. That's incredible.
Thank you.
Everyone loves magic. It just brings you back to being a kid again, doesn't it? That
Yeah,
wonder
yeah,
that you suspend.
that's the thing. Like, you know, it works for every age range. You know, I've done shows where I've performed for, like, you know, there's been 6-year-olds in the audience,
Yeah.
but then there's been 70-year-olds in the audience.
What did you do for the king?
Well,
He must have seen everything and been impressed by everything, but you must have got him.
I've done quite a few things for him over the years. You know, I've turned paper to money for him before, and he's confirmed that it was legal tender.
Of course, yeah. He would know.
He would know, yeah. You know, I've done all sorts. I've twisted my arms and body in ways that made him completely freak out. There's pictures online. You can see him going crazy. But yeah, my highlight actually of performing for the King was actually had the honour of performing at his 70th birthday celebrations at the Palladium, and it was actually my first time back on stage since my illness, right? And I went on there and performed one of my favourite routines. I don't want to spoil the routine,
no.
because you can see me perform it live at some of my shows. I'm working on some more shows.
When can we come and see these shows?
I can't. The dates will be put on Dynamo's Dead Instagram, but yeah, soon. Like in the next 6 months, there'll be some shows added online. Yeah,
I'm bringing the kids. Can I bring the kids?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Literally, the shows for all ages,
Right.
and it's very, very interactive.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, people, you know, I'm keeping the shows quite intimate, so that, like, you know, like 200 people, so that when people come and see the shows, everybody gets to be involved in the magic, because some of the magic in the show literally happens to all 200 people at the same time, like
That's
on
cryptic.
them, like physically on them. So yeah, it's more of like an immersive experience.
Brilliant.
But yeah, like I say, I'm always working on.
What would
stuff.
my last question to you? What would little Steven, young Steven from Bradford, make of all of this now?
I mean, I still feel like that inside, you know, like I haven't, people who know me will tell you, like, I haven't really grown up or changed my outlook on things as I've got older, like, as in the sense of in regards to the magic, in regards to my ambitions and the passion I've got for it. Like,
But
you know,
what you've been through would have floored
Yeah.
many people.
But
they'd
I
have
think
lost their life.
maybe you know, maybe the younger me would have told the older me to, you know, just you know, go with the flow, because you're gonna get through it all. And maybe the older me would have said to the younger me, don't worry about all the stuff happens in these years, because you're gonna turn out all right. But yeah, I still feel like that kid inside, especially when it comes to magic. And yeah, I hope I never lose that feeling.
I don't think you will. Thank you, Steven.
Thank you.
I'd now like to introduce Boots Opticians frame buyer and style consultant. This is Jake Lawrence Barber, and you know all things frames, and that doesn't just go for these frames, but also for the sunglasses.
Yeah, exactly. So we are not just about optical at Boots. We also do sunglasses. A big part of that is prescription sunglasses, but also non-prescription sunglasses. So if you are blessed with 20/20 vision, like Steven is, we still, you know, we can still cater to your needs to make sure you're protected.
Steven, you use your sunglasses a lot in your acts, don't you?
Yeah, you know what? My first ever magic competition that I did, when I say this is old, it was like, must have been like 2003 or something like that. Maybe even earlier than that, right? I actually finished the act. I walked on wearing these sunglasses and took them off and placed them on the table, then did this whole routine, and then at the end, the glasses floated back onto my face, right? And it was like, I thought I was so cool. But these glasses were way too big for my face, by the way, because I was a kid, right? They were like, you know, like my uncle's sunglasses or something, but they were just way too big for my face. But I just thought it was cool, right? And,
Floating glasses.
Yeah, I
is
did
cool.
that back in the day, and then recently, you know, I've been obsessed. I've been using the Ray-Ban Metas and
They're
filming.
so good. I got mine
like,
from you guys.
Yeah,
they are
I've been
amazing.
filming magic from my perspective for people and sharing it on social media, so that's quite cool. Yeah, I've over the years I've done lots of magic in my shows using glasses in different ways.
But are you wearing the right shaped glasses, Steven?
I mean, I don't know if I've got the right head shape for glasses. I've always had,
Honestly, what Jake doesn't know about glasses ain't worth knowing.
You're about to say something is my least favourite thing when people say, oh, I just don't suit glasses.
No.
Everyone suits glasses. It's just different types of glasses for different faces. And that's really what it comes down to, is finding the right style for you. And that goes down to your face shape, your complexion, your hair colour. I mean, especially also for someone like you, Stephen, when you're on stage, you probably want something very different to what you do in your day-to-day life. You know, going out, 9 to 5 is very different to being out in the evening on stage and being part of your act. So, we've got something here for everyone, really. I mean, we were trying these on, Stephen, earlier, and I mean, they're all great. They all fit you amazingly.
Which is your favourite there?
yeah, they're all pretty good because, like, I do really like these. But these are a bit flash for me because they're like, they're quite big, you'll see. They're like, but these feel like, like, I don't know, sort of glasses you see celebrities wearing and stuff, which is, they're a bit flash for me, but I do like them.
Do you like things a little bit more understated?
Yeah, but I like the fact that these are matte, though. Like, they're matte. Like, I've got my car is like matte, a matte colour, and I like even my trainers I'm wearing, they're matte colour, so these kind of fit,
So it's a theme.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And that's what's great about that is that, being able to pick up on details like that matte finish is something that really kind of differentiates all the different brands that we stock. So,
I've never matched my sunglasses to my car. That's a new one on me.
I match a lot of things to my car, to be honest.
Do you?
Yeah. It's a matte green colour, and I've got matte green jackets and everything. Like,
Okay.
It's
a new. I'm gonna have to broaden how I style up my sunglasses.
that is a level of complementary pairing that
that's attention to detail, which is Stephen's all about attention to detail.
100%.
So what about the other glasses? Are these good for Stephen's face shape?
So what's really great is we've also got a pair of classic Ray-Ban Wayfarers here. I mean, they are an icon for a reason. They've been around for, decades. And the reason is because they kind of pretty much suit every face shape to a point. They are...
Let's put that to the test.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, come on. Let's try them on.
Face shape.
So what's great about these as well is also they come in multiple sizes.
Yeah, they look great.
Right.
They look really great.
Looking good?
Looking great.
There we go. So brilliant about this as well. Again, that matte finish that Stephen loves, but also is really always been on trend, especially for men. It's a great finish. This also comes with a polarized lens. So that also is another little extra added benefit. What that means is kind of your polarized lens cuts through glare, which is especially, I'd say, when you're in environments of really high intensity sun or personally.
So these are your holiday glasses.
These are your proper holiday glasses, proper, 30-degree and above, cut through that glare that you get.
If I'm performing magic, right, in somewhere sunny and the sun is shining and I'm like middle of a piece of magic, I don't have to worry about the sunlight like blinding me for a second and me
Exactly. That's what it's about. It reduces the glare.
Yeah.
Never would have even considered that. So that's obviously one of the factors you have to worry about. Those are your glasses, Stephen. Those match your car and those are for your act. And what are these ones for?
I mean, they kind of match my eye colour.
Yeah.
Maybe. They're looking just, let me try these on.
So...
Do I look sophisticated in these ones?
You said you don't have a face for glasses. They all three of them, spot on.
And they're all been different styles,
yeah.
Which is what really shows you it's about finding the right thing for you. I mean, what's great about this is it covers two of the biggest trends on sunglasses this year, which is geometric, so the way it's just slightly angled along the bottom of the lens, and the fact it has that quite bright green lens when it's off. On, it goes to a really nice dark, richer green. But coloured lenses have been such a big trend this year, and it's an amazing look.
Yeah. I like the actual colour because it's normally, I kind of would always go for like black, just simple black frames, preferably matte black. But
yeah, this would still match the car, still green.
Yeah, yeah.
So when it comes to looking after your eyes, because I've actually got sun damage from not wearing sunglasses when I should have been. I didn't know this was a thing.
I didn't know that was a thing either.
It's a thing.
It is a thing. So, UV damage, just as much as it damages your skin, it also damages your eyes.
Because we always talk, put your sun cream on, and we're all on that now. But I thought that sunglasses just sort of shielded your eyes and helped you if you couldn't sort of see through the glare. Turns out I've been damaging my eyes.
Yeah, exactly. So you always want to make sure you're buying real, true sunglasses that have got UV and UVB protection in the lenses. That's really important, and that is what stops you from getting any level of sun damage. 100% protection.
Brilliant. Jake, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Stephen,
thank you, Jake.
You've gone from glasses don't suit me to 3 glasses look fabulous.
Well, you guys can be the judge of that. I'll take your word for it.
A huge thank you to all my guests on See What's Possible, showing that, well, anything is possible. And of course, thank you to you for listening.
Hey, Varilux, can you imagine the varifocal lens of the future? A lens personalized to you, engineered with artificial intelligence and powered by measurements of your visual behavior? What if I told you it's already here? With Varilux XR series varifocal lenses, experience instantly sharp vision in motion. Visit your local Boots Opticians and ask for Varilux XR.